Hey folks, Jimmy here, aka Palette of the Dead. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to a new issue of Warhammer 40k Combat Patrol magazine. Now, as per usual with all these videos, if you like them, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and of course, drop me a comment down below. I love hearing back from you guys. It goes a massive way to helping out the channel too. Now, before we jump into it, I'm going to have a quick word of warning. My voice is starting to go a little bit because I've been quite ill with a cold recently. It is what it is. So if my voice is a bit husky and a bit crap and stuff like that, it's not poor mic work this time round. Sometimes it is, but not today. It is just literally I'm under weather for weather. So forgive me for that. There might be some jump cuts every now and again, or some bits where I'm not explaining things very well. That's just because I'm a little bit poorly. Anyway, this week we're on issue 29 of Good Old Combat Patrol magazine. It is part 3 of 3. So we have our final two Wind Riders and their flying stems as well. So yeah, they're fairly straightforward to build. I must admit, I have enjoyed building these guys. A little bit fiddly with some of the parts, but pretty good minis. You know, they're pretty decent. I will get round to painting them at some point. Warmer weather is coming in, so you know, spray paint weather is pretty much here, or near enough here anyway. Obviously, I've said it before, spray painting weather, the ideal temperature for spray painting is around about the 20 degrees kind of temperature range. Or at least warm you can up to 20 degrees. You can go for cooler weather if you heat your can up. And by heating your can up, I don't mean put a blowtorch to it or anything like that. I mean, get a jug of hot, warm water, shake your can, put it in that warm water for a long period of time, enough to warm the paint up inside, and then obviously use it. So if you get you can get the little kind of spray paint handles from like Amazon and sometimes B&M and places like that. You can literally put that on there and you can hold it with that and then spray it, and you're not going to have a problem with it, and you're not going to have to touch a potentially hot metal can. So, you know, a little bit of tips for you. Obviously, if it's too hot, your paint will come out dry and kind of chalky. So it's a fine balance to try and maintain with spray painting sometimes. Anywho, enough talk about spray paint when we haven't even gone into the magazine. So, firstly, the magazine is greeting us with our How to Paint section for the Wind Riders. So if you're following the colour scheme of the magazine, you're going to be using Mephiston Red, Abaddon Black, Corax White, Lead Belcher, Norn Oil, and good old Macragge Blue. It is entirely up to you if you go for this colour scheme. You do not have to. Obviously, if you've already painted up with any of your Eldari and you want it to match all of it, then go for a very, very similar colour scheme or exactly the same colour scheme, because it will make life a lot easier. If you want to haven't painted them up yet and you want to experiment, you can experiment. It's entirely up to you. But yeah, it's a pretty good paint scheme. It does work fairly well. Obviously, this is not the end of it. This is still a work in progress. So even if you're following the colour scheme in the magazine, there will be bits to add later on. So we might get, say, like White Scar, which is a brighter white than Corax White is, which will be for the edge highlights of white. You'll get Stormhost Silver for edge highlighting of the silvers. We'll get good old probably Wild Rider Red, which is an orangey red really, for the edge highlights of things like your reds and such like that. So there are bits to come later on, so keep your minis close to hand when we're going to paint them up later on. If you're painting your own colour scheme, though, you're not going to need to worry about that. Anywho, moving on. We're going to read section 4 of the Eldari, so we're carrying on with a bit more lore about them. So, we have cabals, cults, and covens. Among the many warring groups and societies of Kamora, there is an uneasy peace maintained not through idealism and cooperation, but by self-interest and survivalism. Amid this atmosphere of mistrust, The different groups are forced to rely on each other or face eventual death and the loss of their souls. The Dark City of Kamora is a twisted tangle of pacts, alliances, and intrigues. At any moment, the collapse of some agreement or other may lead to a rash of infighting among the many competing groups that make their home there. This is no accident. The supreme overlord of the city, Asdurabel, Vect, probably said that wrong then, didn't I? Rules through manipulation and subtlety, leveraging the group's alliances and rivalries against each other to redistribute power or extinguish threats. So, moving on from there, we have a bit more information about Cabal. So, Cabals are large organizations of warriors, and they form much of the military might of the Drukhari. Fierce competition rages among aspirants wishing to join a Cabal, for even the most lowly Cabalite is granted the protection of the entire Cabal. However, this is far from a guarantee of peace, for the Cabals themselves are at constant war with each other. Then on the other page we get a bit more information about the witch cults. So witch cults are made up of warrior athletes who deal out pain and death in the arenas of Kamora. They treat the gladiatorial contests as a high art, and they are famous for their intricate and balletic performances and the dire inventiveness of the game's designs. And then you have information about the homunculus covens that live deep in the bowels of Kamora, the lairs of the homunculus covens. The homunculi deal in modifications of the flesh and the production of enhancing elixirs, but their true speciality is in the creation of life. Not only can they use esoteric technology to grow new Drukhari and create new horrors, but they can use the life energy of prisoners to return slain Drukhari warriors to life. So you get a little bit of information about Drukhari there, more than the actual Eldari, although it is listed as Eldari on here, and they are essentially the same species, but they are completely different factions. So the Drukhari are obviously the Dark Eldar, and the Eldari are the Eldar. So, yeah, makes sense, doesn't it, really? Anyway, Kamora. The Dark City of Kamora is the ancient home of the Drukhari, and it has existed since before the fall. Here, many plots are hatched and much violence and debauchery is carried out. It is to this hell that the unlucky prisoners of the Drukhari raiding parties are brought to serve as both amusement and sustenance. The Dark City of Kamora is a gigantic city of unprecedented scale. Existing as it does in the webway, Kamora is not bound by normal dimensional limits, and it makes use of the hidden paths and labyrinthine connections to join its disparate districts into a nightmarish whole. So, you get a little bit of information about how the Drukhari's capital city of Kamora works, which is actually pretty cool. It's a pretty interesting way of it working, and the fact that it's actually kind of doesn't conform to a standard reality is also pretty interesting. Moving on from there, you get a little bit of information about the High Spires, Raidcraft workshops, and more. So, I must admit, I do like some of the Drukhari vehicles from 40k. They're a little bit different and a little bit wild, and I kind of like them. Don't know what it is about them, but I do kind of like them. So, they're pretty cool. Then moving on, we get more of our play section, so more to do with the core rules and such like. So, we have our core rules 03, all to do with our command phase to begin with. So you get your command phase, battle shock, and stuff like that. So, if you're going to be playing the game and you're going to be playing it on a regular basis, this is very, very, very much worth reading into as with any other rules sections, if you really want to get into playing Warhammer 40k, then you need to be reading this. Keep it safe, because you will want to refer back to it the more and more you do. Obviously, the more you're going to pick up, and the more you're going to remember, and the less you're going to need to refer to it later on. So, definitely worth having a good read through. So, pretty cool stuff there. Move on, though, we have a bit more information. We also get more to do with the combat patrol themselves and the Eldari Fate Breakers, which is our good old combat patrol that we have already. So this obviously gave us our Farseer, which is our Warlord, the Guardian Defenders, Wind Riders, and Wraith Lord. All together make the Fate Breakers. There is obviously another issue with Eldari coming in at some point in the near future, within the next 10 issues, if I remember rightly. I can't remember what comes with it, in all honesty, but you know, it's going to fit in quite well. It just doesn't sit directly in the combat patrol itself. But if you're going to start collecting a good old Eldari army, this gives you a really, really good start, in all honesty. Moving on, though, we get our play for good old the Eldari Wind Riders, so you get a bit more information about things like the Scatterlator, Shuriken Catapults, and such like that, and a bit of how they work. So they are obviously an agile strike team. They can fire pretty well, but they are pretty poor when it comes to close combat because of a lack of melee weapon and such like that. And so, yeah, they could be better, but they're pretty cool. You obviously get some examples of how to utilise their weaponry as well, and how they work as well, so definitely worth having a good look through. And then we actually have our scenario for this magazine. So you're going to use all 6 Wind Riders going up against the termagants of the good old Tyranids. This is actually pretty good. So you have your termagants split up. So you're not using every termagant, you're using groups of 5. So you're going to use 3 groups of 5 as well, so 15 in total, going up against the 6 Wind Riders, and you use 3 in each group for the Wind Riders. So you can literally split them off and have them go here and here if you wanted to. Makes it a little bit more fun. So, pretty good way of doing it. If you're following how it works, then obviously this is going to take you through step by step of how you can play the game. And how you can kind of, in a roundabout way, from the looks of that, you know, harry the enemy and kind of push them into and herd them into one area on its own. You do get battle tips with these as well, which is always really, really good fun. But pretty cool little mission to keep us going and to get us to learn how to utilise Wind Riders kind of correctly, really. So pretty good stuff. Then obviously we've got a nice little image here for good old Chaos and Eldari that we didn't get, unfortunately, because it includes the Rangers, which are pretty cool looking. But we're going to move on. So next week's a paint issue. We get Mechanica Standard Grey and we get Agrax Earthshade. Both are pretty decent paints. Mechanica Standard Grey, I must admit, I use it a fair bit. I have a habit for using it as a base layer paint before painting up. So some people like to prime in certain colours. I do kind of like using Mechanica Standard Grey as a base coat. Then Agrax Earthshade, pretty decent. It's a brown, heavy dark brown, good old shade. So it works very, very well on ground textures and such like that. It can sometimes be a bit glossy, so do be careful with it. But pretty good stuff. Then moving on though, issue 31. Issue 31's a pretty good one. It's our first Chaos Space Marines issue. It is the Dark Apostle and his 2 Dark Disciples. I must admit, I have this model already. It is built and not painted as per usual with a lot of my minis. So yeah, I might actually get around to doing it because it's pretty cool. But yeah, 3 minis. So happy days. Anyway, that is it from me. Thank you very, very much for watching. And I'm going to go before my voice really, really does disappear on me. Yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye now.